Hello and welcome to It's All Connected, the Marvel, DC, Star Wars recap show here on the Illuminerdi. I'm Bryce West, a writer and editor on the Illuminerdi.com, and these are our other hosts.
What's up, guys? Richard Nevins here, another writer for the Illuminerdi, the kind of Marvel guy to say. We got some of everything to talk about today, though, so we've got a good show coming up.
Hey, everybody. Caitlin Tyrrell, writer at the Illuminerdi. Yeah, we've got Bad Batch, of course, for Star Wars and a couple other things like Star Wars Day Celebration moved. This time sooner rather than later. On the Marvel side, we've got like the Venom trailer. We've got some fun, smaller announcements for a lot of the movies and even some TV stuff. And then DC, I think James Gunn reigns supreme this week for DC a little bit.
If I may, for the Marvel stuff, yummy.
Nice. Yeah, very good.
Wait, do you voice Venom? Hold on.
You know what? At this point, somebody needs to hire me for
Okay, is it just
stuff.
me or... No, never mind. I'll save it for the Venom trailer.
We'll get to the Venom trailer.
All right, so I think we're going to be starting with Star Wars again today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's dive right into the Bad Batch. Now, if you haven't watched the Bad Batch yet, first, go watch it. Second, you can watch the episode last week and the episode this week with our Star Wars watch along about the Bad Batch. It includes me, Richard, Josh, and Rob is back.
Yes, Rob is back.
So that was a lot of fun. They are Thursdays at 11:40 p.m. and the first 3 episodes of that and our watch along are also available on our YouTube channel. So do that. But let's talk about episode 3 now. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely, I think we're getting kind of a sense of like what this show is actually going to be about. Cause this one was pretty similar to episode 2, definitely shorter. It was only 28 minutes, 27 minutes or so. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, we got some more like personal connections with how they're relating to Omega. We saw Omega kind of, have to handle herself a little bit against that giant, I don't know, what would you call that? The giant flying
Space puppy dragon.
Space puppy dragon. Sure. Yeah.
That was it. Actually, I don't know if you know, like on Wikipedia, that's actually the official name.
The official name. Star Wars came up. They were like, Space Puppy Dragon, it's fine.
Space Puppy Dragon. Yeah, no, for sure. So, we got some good action there with Omega having to handle herself. And, we didn't get a ton of, like, plot development this time around, but I'm sure that's going to come.
For that side of it. For the other side, we did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We got some big stormtrooper stuff, which, I go ahead.
I was just going to say, it looks like we have Death Trooper stuff, too.
Death Troopers.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the Death Troopers, I don't know if you've seen them yet, Richard, because I think they're introduced in Rogue One.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that. If I am, please tell us in the chat.
It was actually introduced in issue such and such of this comic book.
So I know,
and I'll read the comic book.
I know that Rogue One has Shore Troopers at least, but I haven't heard about Death Troopers.
So Death Troopers are like the elite stormtroopers. They're like the best of the best. You know how stormtroopers can't shoot? Death Troopers can.
Stormtrooper plus.
Right? So looks like Crosshair is kind of the prototype beginning of Death Troopers. Is like, as a sharpshooter, it makes sense.
Here's my whole thing with the whole Stormtroopers can't shoot thing. You'd think they would have trained them to do that, right?
There's literally an episode of Rebels where Rex
where they
is
go
wearing the stormtrooper gear and he can't hit anything, and Kanan, one of the other main characters, makes a joke, and Rex takes the helmet off because it's this helmet I can't see. It hits a stormtrooper in the head. That's like my favorite canon. It's like the helmets suck. That's what it is.
God, so it's a design flaw. God damn.
I really did enjoy this episode because I think I probably said it a million times before the show was coming out, but I was really excited to see sort of the backstory of why we switched from clone troopers to stormtroopers, and we're getting a
Mhm.
lot more of that this episode. We're getting to see more of that, and they've also been teasing more of that, so we're going to continue to see more of this. And so I am really loving that. I am really loving that we're finally getting to see why, and I mean see, not read, see
Yeah.
why the clone troopers were phased out and we brought in stormtroopers. I've always found that so fascinating, and I am really loving that we're getting this in Bad Batch. This is awesome.
Yeah, definitely, because they revealed the answer in the first episode, but we're actually seeing it play out and what happens. And like the Kaminoans, for example, they just sort of disappear after like the prequels, and now we're gonna see it looks like why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now we're going to actually see them disappear, like they're or at least why, so.
Yeah. And that's the thing I love about these animated shows, like starting off with Clone Wars and going into this. I mean, just as an overall thing, this is really filling in just so many details. Like, I mean, sure, people have wondered about what happened, like with the Kaminoans and, the whole Clone Wars. I mean, that was 3 years worth of Star Wars timeline that we hadn't seen before Clone Wars. Yeah. And I love the fact that these animated shows are really, really diving into that, like full bore.
Yeah, you get really the lore and the mythology of Star Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I talked about a little bit, I think. I thank you for whoever last week kind of talked about the Kanan Jarrus comics. I read them.
Yeah.
They talked a little bit about how, like, maybe it's more about, like, those versions are more of memories, which is why they're not 100% accurate. Personally, I like that explanation, but I think that the way we're getting kind of this mythology and seeing maybe different perspectives on it is going to be really interesting. So, yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's definitely, we're getting to actually see the expanded universe with these shows. Whereas before, you did have to read the books, you did have to read the comics, and of course, I joke about it, but of course, if you read the comics, you love the books, like by all means, go read them. It's just not my thing, and so it's kind of hard for me to where we're just like, oh, go read the books. This is like, well, I don't read the books, so it's just like for me, it's just like I don't plan on reading. I do have Star Wars books.
You also have the question of, like, can I read this one singular book, or do I have to read 6 books to get it?
Well, and then there's also the fact where, the movies and the TV shows take canonical precedence. And so, I could read something in a book and learn something completely different in the shows or movies. So that's kind of...
Yeah. And that's the thing I think I like about Star Wars in that respect, is that everything in the TV shows and the movies seems to really interconnect and interweave with each other, the way it's supposed to. And I'm sure the books have plenty of extra information, like you said, the Kanan stuff, Caitlin. But they're not like necessary reading or material.
They're
exactly. They're very additive.
I think Star Wars is probably the best example of a large franchise pulling off multi-platform storytelling.
I mean, unless they're sequel books, then those are probably necessary.
Right.
But again, we're not getting into that. But
no.
Yeah, just saying. Somehow he came back. Anyway, go ahead.
I will say, I felt like, because yes, we did see Omega handle herself. I think the point of this was showing why they're going to take her on missions and not just leave her in the ship. But it did feel a little bit like, didn't we just do this? Like it felt
a little repetitive.
Yeah, it felt like we could have seen that maybe on their first mission where she kind of sneaks out and helps them. I feel like they could have done that. I think I even said during the watch along, we talked about it. They could have had the ship crash, focus on like Crosshair for the rest of the episode, and by the end have the ship repaired. And I feel like it would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, like if we had to rank them, I think we did this on the actual show. I'd say for me, it would go like 1, 2, 3, actually, in that order. Like, I mean, 3. The last episode wasn't bad per se, but I think, like you said, we could have done a lot more with the Crosshair stuff, and maybe not focus quite as much on the Bad Batch and Omega.
Sure.
The Crosshair and Omega, or not Omega, I'm sorry, the Crosshair and Empire stuff was really the like meat of this episode. And
the highlight,
Saw Gerrera mention. Like, I did not expect that. Did you guys expect to hear about him so soon?
No, not. I mean, he came in episode 1, but we didn't expect to hear about him. 2 weeks later, or what? Yeah.
I mean, I can't honestly say that I was expecting it, but I also wasn't surprised either.
Okay,
fair
enough.
So I mean, it was just like, oh, they're mentioning Saw Gerrera again because he was just in episode 1. So it's just like it made sense, but
Yeah.
it's not like I was like, you know what, I think he's gonna be a big,
Yeah.
continue to be a big player,
And
so.
here's my question for you guys, since you guys are more familiar with Saw. Do you guys think he'll play like more of a key role in this series going forward? Because we know he shows up in Rogue One.
I would have said
but I don't know.
no. I would have said no. Except it looks like the Empire might be more interested in him than I expected them to be.
Yeah, and I mean there is a lot of missing stuff between Clone Wars and Rogue One, which is where we see him
and
last.
Rebels.
In Rebels, yeah. So
yeah, for sure.
I will also say when we see him in Rebels, he's very much like in the spectrum of rebellion. He's very radical. Like you see that in Rogue One too, but he's very radical.
Way off the grid, yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind seeing, like, because we always have assumed it's because his sister got killed.
Okay.
And his world basically got taken over by the Empire after they had thought they freed it from the Separatists. So I wouldn't mind seeing, oh, no, more stuff happened. You know?
Like more than just that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he'll be back. I don't think he'll be a big player, but I'm sure he'll definitely be back because I mean they had him show up in episode 1. They've mentioned him again since, and he's got probably a lot more animosity towards the Empire because of that brutal scene. They're on the planet.
That was pretty rough in
wow.
episode 1.
It's like, hello, Disney Plus. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, remember how Clone Wars was for kids?
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't as much as we expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they tackled some dark stuff in Clone Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars has some pretty like wow moments. But I think this takes the cake.
Yeah, Clone Wars and Rebels, definitely. You're like, oh, that was like Cartoon Network and Disney, like XD or whatever. Okay, and then you're like, they went into some dark stuff if you think about it. This one, you're like, they roasted people with a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're in, I guess.
They've got that dude's on fire.
Right? 100%. No, I think if we see Gerrera as more of a player, it's because he's our main tie to the rebellion at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure the rebellion's going to come into play somewhat. I mean, especially with the rise of the Empire being featured so heavily in this.
And I wanted to ask you guys, what did you guys think about the 4 clones, not including Omega, of the Bad Batch? Because I really am liking what they're doing with Wrecker and Omega, and the Hunter Omega thing feels like obvious, but Echo and Tech feel really kind of waylaid at this point.
Yeah, they haven't really gone into them a lot. I mean, they're part of the show, obviously. I'm sure they'll get some more stuff later, but they've really been focusing heavily on like Wrecker and Hunter to start off, especially with the Omega stuff.
And even Wrecker, it's more comedic.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And I mean, he's funny. Don't get me wrong, but yeah.
We've seen a lot of Echo and Tech together, so maybe they're trying to build on that friendship and maybe do something with that.
I think it's because the other two are so done with Tech.
They can't deal with it.
Right?
And so yeah, maybe Echo's the only person who can level with Tech, and maybe they're trying to build that up as a thing. If that's the case, then I think that'd be a really cool thing to explore. But we'll see.
For sure. Yeah.
I see more like Echo be like having PTSD and being kind of messed up because he was held by the Separatists and experimented on for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't get to see a lot of that in Clone Wars. I mean, like we pretty much saw him get taken and then we saw what he became, but I'd love to get
taken. We thought he died.
Well, yeah, exactly. We thought he died and he was actually taken. So yeah.
Yeah. And like really all we saw at the end of the arc with Clone Wars is he was basically like, I fit in with the Bad Batch better. I'm going to stay with them. That's it. That's all we got.
new team, who dis?
No, I mean, we saw Rex in one of the promos, so I'm hoping when Rex pops in, that's when we get more stuff with Echo. And I talked about a little bit on the watch log. I don't think Tech was this much of a dick in the Clone Wars arc.
He didn't seem like it. I mean, he seemed kind of like maybe a little more distant than the other guys, but he didn't seem like a full-on asshole.
And he shared information easily. In this, he has not done that at all.
Not even sort of.
Well, you gotta cause conflict, I guess.
Well, I don't remember who pointed it out, but I think it was a really good point that maybe it's because he's still distrustful of the chips. Because at the beginning of the episode, he's more concerned about making that like scanner than the ship is literally falling apart. So if they're gonna go in that angle, I like it. If they just did it so that he's like more differentiated from the others, I'm a little like,
More
really?
contrast, yeah.
That's what you went with? You went with he's a jerk? Come on, that's so boring.
Yeah, I mean, if that's just to cause conflict, that would be pretty boring.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm hoping there's an actual story reason behind it. Because I don't think he was this much of a jerk at the beginning of the pilot episode either. Like, he shared information when they were fighting the droids, right?
I think so. I feel like he did.
And he told them about Order 66. Yeah, he told them that he thought the
Yeah.
Clone Wars was ending. So yeah, this has to be story related, because otherwise you're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Okay.
Yeah,
I
there's
feel
no
better
way it can't
now.
be story related. Yeah.
I feel
Okay.
better.
I honestly, like, it would be so cool if, I don't know if you ever seen Justice League Doom, I think it's called. It's an animated movie, but it's
Okay.
like about, and I might be talking about the wrong movie, but there's an animated movie where Batman kind of has a contingency for every single member of the Justice League, where
I have
if
heard of this.
where if they go rogue, like you know, he
contingency
has
plan.
a way to stop them. And
Yeah.
I guess the league finds out and they all like leave or whatever, and so, but yeah, I think that would be a really cool thing to
Yeah.
explore.
That'd be
Like,
interesting. Also,
like-
I love that the Justice League is surprised Batman has a contingency.
I was saying, should they be surprised?
Have
Yeah.
you met him?
Have you met Batman?
Have you been to Gotham? You better have a contingency for your life.
Well, I mean,
Seriously,
it's,
if you visit Gotham, you have to have a contingency plan. God knows living
I mean,
there.
I do agree, but this is like, how would you feel if, I don't know, we were superheroes and I had a contingency to literally like kill you if I needed to? Like, I don't think you guys would feel very good about that, you know?
If I was Superman, I feel like I could flick Batman and kill him, so I think I'd be okay with it.
Oh, like he tried to do in Batman v Superman before he was hit with kryptonite.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Well,
It doesn't work.
An easy solve. That's an easy solve. You just go, my mom's name is Martha, and you're fine.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Superman needs
I
to
don't
wear
care.
a face mask so he doesn't
I don't care how big of a Snyder fan you are. I don't care how big of a Snyder fan you are. That will never fly with me.
I love how dramatic it was. He literally just sort of said, save my mom. I feel like that would have been enough.
Seriously, like it's just
Save Martha.
We're off topic. Let's roll back a little bit.
But
But that's a very cool point, Bryce. I think that'd be really interesting to find out that Tech, like, part of the reason he's being more of a jerk and holding stuff back is he's planning how to take care of everyone because of Crosshair.
Yeah.
I mean, after the Crosshair stuff, I get it. Maybe it's something you'll want to share with the team, but I guess we'll see that.
Because then it's not a contingency plan anymore if they know there's a contingency plan.
Very true.
Yeah.
And
I guess so.
Megan specifically said you can't blame Crosshair. It's not his fault. I thought that was
very. And I like the innocence of that, like, especially just because this is literally her first time off Camino and like seeing anything outside of her own world. So
she's also right. It's not his fault.
Oh yeah.
It's the inhibitorship. And I'm really curious to see what happens, like, if they save him at the end of the season. I think it was Josh that asked the question with the inhibitor chips, because we don't know. But when they take it out, has it reprogrammed their brain after long term, or is it going to be something where they're just like guilt ridden? Because we haven't seen a clone who had it in long term and then got it removed.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of saw it with Rex, and I mean, obviously he felt guilty about it, but
it was immediate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think one more thing that I want to mention before we move on is that you know, Cody was a pretty major clone in the Clone Wars, and throughout Legends or expanded universe material, whatever, Cody was a fairly big player in training these new stormtroopers. And since we got a lot of that in this episode, I'm wondering if we could possibly see Cody come back at some point. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
I hope we do. I'm really interested in seeing what happens with Cody, because he is also one of the few named clones in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And, like, he's friends with Obi-Wan. I'm also hoping we kind of get him in Obi-Wan.
That would be
that
awesome.
would be interesting.
I'd love seeing Cody and Obi-Wan.
So I think if we see him kind of starting to train, because Crosshair isn't really like, I'm going to train the new clones. He's like, ugh, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
He's
like,
just done with everything.
Yeah, it's like, in the fact that they keep bringing back good soldiers follow orders, I'm really enjoying. So I think it'd be awesome
yeah.
if we saw Cody actually training the next group of stormtroopers. I'm just interested how much we're going to see of the next group of stormtroopers, because we did really see, like I said, it looked like the first kind of death troopers with them in the black stormtrooper gear. So are we going to see more of that where it's adults recruited? Because I was actually assuming they're going to just straight up kidnap children.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Because we do know that the First Order is doing that down the line, and like before the sequels, because that's what happened to Finn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Bad Batch setting up a lot of stuff. And very quickly before we move on, it was very cool. The Empire guy that had the initiative about training soldiers is the same guy that was the hologram about the chain codes.
Right. Yeah. Good continuity there.
Yeah. So I like that tie-in. But yeah, it looks like they're setting up a lot of stuff with like the Empire and the Stormtroopers, which is fun, and I know Bryce is excited about. We're getting more Crosshair. I'm liking that we're going to see Crosshair as well as the other Bad Batch members, because he is technically still Bad Batch.
Yep.
I'm hoping we're going to get more, like, we're finally going to get into the Bad Batch taking mercenary missions, because that's kind of what I've been leaning towards.
Hope so.
And I'm hoping we're going to get more of those Clone Wars and even maybe like Rebels players coming in, and like some of the other players from the Star Wars like movies too.
Yeah. We're getting into some good stuff here for the next couple weeks.
We're only 3 in. We have
yeah. Still got 13 episodes.
Yeah, I like that alone to me. I'm like, Star Wars is doing good with this show, because we're all very excited, and we're 3 episodes in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, even with a couple
not halfway through.
Yeah. I was gonna say, at this point in Falcon, we were halfway through the show.
Right. And Wanda was a third of the way through.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we've got a good few weeks coming up.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And we got a little bit more Star Wars news, like the Star Wars Celebration, Bryce, right?
What? Yeah. So before we get into that, I did want to quickly plug that we do have a super chat feature here on the channel. So of course we'll be reading chat throughout the show. But if you want to guarantee that your message will be read, or have a topic suggestion for us, definitely be sure to send that our way. And I think Richard actually told me that he would be wearing hot pink in the next episode if you guys send a super chat. So thank you, Richard.
Do you own hot pink?
He does now.
1, no. 2, I was gonna actually offer something.
There you go. No. That offer's off the table. Sorry, folks, but Richard, what do you got?
I'll do it in the Venom voice. I'll read the question in the Venom voice.
Yes. Guys, send a super chat, please.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow.
Oh
awesome.
my god.
Awesome.
Yeah, the Venom voice is just a fun one. Just because he is absolutely insane.
He will do the Venom voice while wearing hot pink in the next episode. So there we go.
A hot pink Venom shirt. Find it on the internet and send it to him, guys.
Yep.
Dear God, why?
Yeah, Richard, do you want to go ahead and send them your P.O. box? No, I'm kidding.
You ain't getting my address.
Yeah.
Please say your home address on the internet.
I said P.O. box.
That's a great idea.
I didn't say address. I said P.O. box.
Oh my God.
There's a difference.
Anyway, moving on.
Address is not P.O. box. Anyway.
Richard lives at 123 Not Gonna Happen Lane.
Yes. That is exactly where I live.
Right,
anyway, so Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, if you do want him to read it in the Venom voice, definitely send a super chat our way.
I will legit do that.
But we got some Star Wars Celebration news, and you won't believe it, but we've got a date moving up. That hasn't happened in a while. Star Wars Celebration.
A good sign. Good sign.
Star Wars Celebration was originally scheduled for next year, August 18th through the 21st, 2022, and it has now been moved up to May 26th to the 29th of 2022. That's pretty awesome. It's nice to see things actually getting their dates moved up for once.
Change for the better.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I probably won't be in attendance. But it's
in Anaheim. It's in Anaheim.
Yeah. I would enjoy taking the drive down to Anaheim to check that out.
Isn't that even farther than LA for you?
Well, because here's the thing. I lived like an hour from Anaheim when I lived in SoCal. So we'd go to Disneyland, once or twice a year. So
instead of 9 hours, it'll be 10.
or 8, depending on which.
How fast you drive, and
Yeah, exactly. Where it is, geography is not my strong suit, so.
Well,
I just know south right now.
Some roads have that little extra side lane, also known as a sidebar, where you can just zoom on from the right. So
right.
So yeah, just take one
For
of those
sure.
and you'll get there
Some of
like
those-
10 times quicker.
Some of those roads also have cops.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Probably most of them. But regardless, it's good to see Star Wars Celebration coming back and moving up earlier.
Yeah,
I like
for
that
sure.
it's in May too, because you got May
It's
the 4th,
gotta be.
May the 5th, like Revenge of the 5th, so that feels
Exactly.
Yeah.
It feels right. It feels like it should be in May.
100%. I completely agree. And I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff because we haven't had Star Wars Celebration in 2 years at that point. And we know there's going to be shows coming out in 2022. They got a big list. Plus, I'm hoping we're going to learn more about the Taika Waititi and
the Kevin Feige one.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron for the movies. Like there's a lot to get into. So I'm very excited.
We still have no idea what that Kevin Feige project is.
Well, according to Marvel fans on the internet, it's Kevin Feige's coup to take over.
Which, spoiler alert, it's not, because I just wrote something up the other day that this is gonna be a one and done thing, pretty much.
He asked that 3 times, and every single time he's like, "No."
He's been pretty clear about it.
I love that people think he has I'm sure he'd be great at it as long as he's got the same knowledge of Star Wars as he does Marvel.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing: he has time when?
I was gonna say he's producing 24 projects for Marvel at least. That's just confirmed stuff.
Yeah. So
I will say this: I did read one theory, and this was one where it's like, okay, I can kind of buy this, and then that's Mephisto being in the Kevin Feige Star Wars movie. I think that's definitely probably something.
You realize Bryce brings up Mephisto every week
They
now.
missed the mark. They missed the mark in WandaVision. I think it's finally time for and then I don't know if you guys actually knew this, but it's actually going to be the Avengers Star Wars crossover movie.
Oh God!
This is exclusive information. No, it's not.
I was literally gonna say there's an episode of Parks and Rec where Patton Oswalt plays a character I don't remember the name of, but he
I know the episode. Yeah,
he's pitching the Star Wars Marvel crossover, and it starts with Boba Fett being alive. So when Boba Fett was alive, I was like, oh my God, they did it! We're gonna get it.
Funny, quick little sidebar on that before we go on. I'm going through a whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. rewatch right now. The next episode I get to is where Patton Oswalt wakes up in Star Wars sheets, for that flashback with the stuff before Age of Ultron. So.
Patton Oswalt is probably the best actor ever. I think so.
He's one of my favorite. I do love me some Patton Oswalt. I mean, he's Ratatouille. He's been in Marvel. He's MODOK now. I mean,
I would love to see him in Star Wars in some capacity. He'd be hilarious.
Me too.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to see him bring MODOK to the MCU.
He wants that too, man.
He does.
Yeah, there we go.
But anyways, so.
But yeah, that's our Star Wars Celebration news. It is now May 26th through 29th, 2022. The only negative, I think, for that is people who have, taken vacation time from work and booked hotels and stuff. That part kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's enough time where you can, reschedule and, push things back a little bit, but that does stink to have to deal with that.
Yeah, but for everyone else, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Generally, it's awesome. Yeah.
Wait, real quick before we move on, when does Rogue Squadron come out? Is it 2022 or 2023?
I don't remember. Do we have a
date?
I
feel like it's. I'm gonna do a quick check on that.
Okay. Well, you check that. We're gonna go into our last little bit of Star Wars. Okay, then that's the perfect.
Christmas 2023. Yeah.
The perfect time to talk about it.
For sure.
But we're gonna drop into our next little bit of Star Wars news. Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, teased that he got to play a very special scene on May 4th with someone very special in his life, and that's about all he said. And then when Jimmy Kimmel asked him if we had seen him on camera with them before, he says, "No, I don't think so." And he said, "Is this person special, related to you in some way?" He said, "No, not necessarily."
Dang it, never mind. Because I was gonna say it's Wedge. That was because Wedge is his uncle.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's actually not the craziest theory we've heard today.
And he
Like,
said not necessarily.
so I don't know
Yeah.
how you're not necessarily
Yeah,
related to
I don't
your
know what that
uncle,
means.
but
Yeah,
I would say I'm fairly necessarily related to my uncle. But
But all I'll say is Paul Bettany has ruined this predicting cameo thing for all of us. So
I will
thank you,
say-
Paul Bettany.
I will say I do think that's for the better because it's honestly got kind of tiring. You know, it's just like,
A
do we
little
have
bit.
to know everything? Like,
Ewan
Right.
McGregor has been in shows like where he plays against himself. I think Fargo.
We're safe on that.
So I think we're safe on that. I also don't see him pulling a Paul Bettany on that because
Yeah.
I feel like Paul Bettany thought he could kind of get away with it because WandaVision was comedy, and I don't think Obi-Wan's going to be a comedy show.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be some funny stuff in it, but I don't think Obi-Wan Kenobi post Revenge of the Sith is going to be regarded as a comedy.
Like
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo getting chased by Darth Vader.
Oh, God. Ruh-roh.
oh man, next week you have a super chat. Richard will do a story in the Scooby Doo
Yeah.
voice
Hey, Scooby-Doo has crossed over with DC before, and that was amazing.
and Supernatural
And Supernatural.
and WWE.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I think Wedge would be really cool. I know like Bryce is hoping for Darth Maul.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if Ray Park or whoever it would be someone special in his life. I mean, no offense. I mean, they might
Yeah.
be friends behind the scenes, but for me, that sounds like somebody pretty freaking close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
family
somebody
or-
who
yeah.
he hasn't shared a scene with, so it can't be Hayden.
Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Can
No,
share a whole trilogy with that.
yeah. Well, 2 movies.
Unless
Yeah.
it's Hayden in the Darth Vader
Darth Vader
armor.
suit.
That's the only way I could see him like kind of doing that. Personally,
Yeah,
I'm
but-
hoping it's like either like maybe a kid that's playing like a young Luke or Leia. That would be kind of cool.
What if
That
it's
would be
his
cool. He
kid?
did.
What if it's his kid playing Luke? That'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
Does he have a kid?
That would be
Or-
really cool.
I don't even
don't
know if
know.
he does. Let me look.
Or a flashback with Satine or memory with Satine in some way.
I'd love to see something with Satine. That'd be really cool. Following up
I
with
want
Clone Wars.
the freaking Obi-Wan Satine origin story so bad.
Me too. They got to do that
Um,
sometime.
He has 4 kids. I don't know.
What are their ages?
I
Yeah,
have
good
no
question.
idea.
That feels creepy. We're not gonna get into that.
No. But
Yeah,
honestly, like,
but I mean, I think
yeah.
it'd be cool for it if his kid is young enough to play a young Luke, and if he, of course,
Or
has a son.
any other character.
Or yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
that'd be
It could
awesome as well.
Any character. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
except he is related to his children. So
Oh right, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that.
That ruins that again. Great. Well,
Yeah.
maybe
But
I don't know. Like, could it be like maybe if he has a wife, like would that technically be related?
I think he has an ex-wife.
yeah, or maybe a girlfriend, I think. But
Yeah.
regardless, I'm just curious to see like when in the series it pops up because we don't know how many episodes it's gonna be, or anything like that. So
I'm
It'll be fun.
assuming 6 or 8.
that's what
I would
thinking. I was
assume
thinking 6.
8. I would assume 8 because that's what Mandalorian has.
I'm
Right,
assuming
yeah.
6 because they've been calling this like a limited series, which I guess could
That-
still be 8. But
Yeah, that to me just means we're not getting a second season.
Yeah,
So,
like WandaVision.
I've just kind of always assumed 6, but I don't really know if I have
Yeah.
any reason to. But
I don't think
But-
we've had a 6-episode Star Wars show.
no,
Not yet, no.
But
I mean,
Mando's-
we've only
Mando's
had
been-
the Mandalorian.
Well,
We'll
yeah,
know
exactly.
after Boba Fett, probably. That would be the one to know.
Yeah.
maybe
I'm betting Boba Fett may give us some more insight on kind of like what to expect. Maybe not
think,
like
though, with
story wise
Boba-
for Obi-Wan, but yeah.
I think though with Boba Fett, I think it's going to be very similar to the Mandalorian. So I feel
think
like
it's going to be Mandalorian, but more crime.
I think it's going to be Mandalorian, but it's Boba Fett. So
Well, because I don't think he's going
Yeah.
to be trying to protect people. I think he's going to be
Well,
building
right,
a crime.
yeah.
I think he's going to be building like a crime.
Empire kind of.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be more based around that, which I think it'll be cool.
But still, production wise, I think it's probably going to be pretty much the same as Mando.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
it's Favreau and Filoni.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that is our big Star Wars news for this week. Hopefully, we get
Mm-hmm.
some more
Yep.
detailed stuff
Hope so.
next week. And as we said, please join us for the Star Wars Illuminerdi watch along Thursdays at 11:40 p.m. Pacific. where we watch episodes of The Bad Batch and nerd out about all the crazy Star Wars stuff we just saw.
Yep. It's a good time.
Now we are moving into Marvel.
Whoa.
And we got a new trailer. And this is not an MCU thing. This is just Marvel specifically because it's Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what? Okay, so we got probably the best comic book movie trailer of all time. Well, okay.
Wow, that's a big one. Okay.
No, I'm not serious. I mean,
See,
looks...
Infinity War, Endgame, Ragnarok.
I mean, look, listen.
How many MCU movies are there?
People, general fans are going to absolutely hate this movie. But, that being said, I think I'm going to love it.
You know what? I think this movie's going to go, just before you go, Bryce, this movie's going to get to go full comic book, like full on crazy.
Man.
I mean, we've got Venom, we've got Carnage, we've got, and just so you guys are aware, Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
I don't hate the name, but I do think Maximum Carnage would have been a better name.
I think we've said this on previous episodes, the only reason I'd be okay with it is if they're saving it for another movie.
Yeah. Which
that wouldn't be shocking.
Yeah. That's the only reason I'd be okay with it.
But yeah, I mean this trailer, oh man, it was amazing. Like we got Venom making eggs and waffles.
I never thought
threatening to eat the gas station clerk.
So
that was my favorite part. Him threatening to eat the gas station clerk. That was literally my favorite part of the entire trailer. Is when he's like, "Is my order in? No, it's not here yet. Eat her. We're not eating."
I think eggs and waffles might be my favorite comic book movie moment ever. And the movie's not even out yet, so.
And again, yummy.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah. That reminds me. Okay, so I almost brought this up at the middle of the show, but I saved it.
Good job.
Does it not sound like Venom is voiced by Animal from the Muppets? Like,
deeper, but a little bit. Yummy!
Or like Cookie Monster.
And it's popping out of Tom Hardy instead of like the Venom thing. It's just freaking Animal.
No, one part Animal, one part Cookie Monster.
No.
Hitting them with his drumsticks.
No, Animal is actually Carnage.
Oh Lord.
Carnage was like creepy as hell in the trailer.
Yeah,
so
as he should have been. I mean, that was pretty impressive, I gotta say.
Woody Harrelson is going to be a great Carnage, I think. Venom, they're going to be not great movies. Like, the first one's a guilty pleasure of mine. I enjoy watching it. I think it's a fun movie to watch.
Okay.
It's definitely not a great movie, but it's a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to continue to be that way. But this I think Woody Harrelson is going to be giving a legitimately good performance as Carnage.
And also, a cool Easter egg. I don't know if you guys noticed in the early part of it, right when he walks into Miss Chen's shop, there's a little magazine on the side with Stan Lee's face on it.
Yeah.
I think one of the Venom arms like adjusts it on the stand a little bit, but that was a really cool Stan Lee nod in there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're gonna get in the future. Like, I feel like they have to do that in all the Marvel movies in some.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I remember in WandaVision they had his birthday on one of the Wanda license plates from that one intro from episode 7, I think it was. But yeah, I'd love seeing stuff like that keep going in the Marvel movies.
Yeah. But yeah, so definitely creepy Carnage, which like you guys said totally fits. So well done with that.
Oh yeah.
And it looks like we're gonna have some like legit like fight scenes too.
Right.
So I mean, we got kind of a little bit with, I don't remember what they called it, the anti-venom or what did they? Hold on, let me actually look this up before I start talking about it. But I mean, they had a pretty good fight scene. I'm not asking. I'm just looking at Riot. They had between Venom and Riot at the end of Venom 1, and I think that was a pretty decent fight scene. And so, but yeah, the fight scenes between Venom and Carnage in this movie are going to be awesome. Like, whether or not the movie is good, those fight scenes are going to be pretty freaking killer. And besides, the movie will be probably at least perfect because of the animal Venom stuff that we're getting. The animal
Someone needs to edit that now. Like
the
someone needs to
Venom
edit that into the
The
trailer.
Venom Muppet.
yeah the Venom eggs and waffles.
Venom Muppet. Yeah, I'll say this: I
man.
never thought breakfast could look that disappetizing. Like,
Oh, I thought it looked good.
Damn.
I thought it looks yummy. You know, I mean, if I were
Yeah,
Venom, I would have ate it.
Argue with the restaurant owner about food looking appetizing. Good call.
You know, hey, I'm not arguing how you make your food. I'm arguing about how
Yeah.
he makes his.
Yeah,
And I think it works
that's
for
the
Venom.
one thing we actually don't do is breakfast yet. But
Yeah, there we go.
Richard's looking at that. I can't serve that.
You know, it works.
like,
It works
yeah,
for Venom. Yeah, well, okay. First of all, Venom throws it on the table. Like I can't. Like, of course, it's not gonna look like pleasing. He like literally like basically tosses it on the table. And what do you expect it to look like gourmet? Like
I don't know if I was expecting that, but
I mean, he was tossing it all over the place. So yeah,
oh my God.
it was gonna look.
What was it? Ketchup that ended up on Tom Hardy. Oof, that was rough.
No,
That-
are you kidding
that
me? No,
was
it was the best scene. No. You're no fun. That was the best scene that has ever happened in any trailer. It was amazing, and Venom probably best picture.
Let's take a second to recognize that Richard said that was rough about ketchup getting on Tom Hardy out of everything that happens to him in the Venom stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a really good point, actually.
Like,
But
that's the
regardless,
moment where you're like, oh, Tom Hardy.
But yeah,
Yeah,
in all seriousness, I think majority of people probably going to absolutely hate it. Me, I'm gonna love it, so I can't wait.
This has the chance to be a really fun, like, popcorn entertaining movie.
Yeah.
I really hope it is, honestly.
Or like cult classic.
Yeah,
Venom, Let There Be Carnage, a cult classic.
Down the line, I could actually kind of
name
see.
for it. It has the right name for it.
Yeah, it does have the right
I think
name
it'd
for
be
it.
hilarious if it did become like this big cult classic.
Yeah.
I think. Oh man.
Yeah, that'll be the interesting thing. Like 20, 30 years from now, is like which of these comic book movies that are coming out right now are going to be seen as something like that. I mean, God knows what movies are going to be like 20 or 30 years from now.
Well,
but
they're just going to be injected into your brain.
Is that dang it, I'm dropping everything. But the weird thing now is that whenever these movies come out, like Endgame, they immediately become classics. So, like, it's kind of weird to kind of look over in 20 years. It's like, what's going to be a cult classic? It's like, well, we already kind of have them. So,
Hi, Donnie Pearson. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's
Donnie,
up, Donnie?
What's going on, man?
Thank you so much. And even if you don't do super chat, please join us in the chat and give us some topics and stuff to talk about.
I will say I do think there's a difference between classic and cult classic, and I don't necessarily I think the Marvel. Don't get me wrong, the MCU movies are awesome. I don't think they're going to be considered like classics because classic to me is more like Casablanca.
Stuff like that.
But what would you consider a 2010s classic? Like
those, I think those usually kind of get like the Oscar stuff gets considered that. Like I think that
like
the more
Black
MCU
Panther?
stuff,
Joker.
honestly,
Like-
maybe Black Panther feels way more Shakespearean than a lot
Sure.
of the other Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the MCU stuff is always going to be important and really because
it was the highest grossing film of all time. So
this is also historically, this is the first time anything like the MCU has happened. Sort of like Arrowverse on the TV side. That was the first time you got that crossover style. Like historically, superhero stuff is going to be crazy important in film and TV history in a way that I don't think was necessarily expected.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious about what will be considered like more of a cult classic, like Rocky Horror, Scott Pilgrim, that kind of style. Because I think Venom feels like the right move for that.
It could, yeah, and that's the kind of thing you got me kind of thinking about that, Caitlin. Like we look back at like the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, like from the 70s and 80s, as kind of, I don't know if like full on classics, but people adore them and really love them. I'm curious to see if the MCU kind of hits that kind of status later on. I think movies like Iron Man, The Avengers, Infinity War, have a chance at being stuff like that.
It feels more James Bond like to me. You know what I mean? Where it becomes like a staple in like pop culture.
Yeah,
That's
for
what
sure.
It feels more like to me.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, back to your point on like the Oscars. I mean, the 2016 Suicide Squad won an Oscar. Do we think that'll be a class? It won
Well, what did it
an
win
Oscar.
in?
Best makeup.
I think it's like for makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not usually what I consider.
What? You don't think it'll be a classic?
Suicide. I just cannot believe Suicide
I could
Squad
see
is
it
an
being-
Oscar-winning film.
That's so sad. I will say,
Seriously.
Obviously,
kind
yeah.
of
Of course,
stuff
I'm kidding, by the
where-
way, but yeah.
that kind of stuff where it's not like great, obviously, and there's like tiny moments that are sort of funny, like Margot Robbie. That is what ends up being cult classics because it's the stuff you
The
can
Margot
go
Robbie, Will Smith stuff. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You can go to the movies and make fun of it. That's the point.
Oh.
Yeah,
man.
for sure. Yeah, or like the 2003 Hulk for how bad it was.
Yeah.
Stuff like that,
That
I think.
100% I could see becoming a cult classic, especially because it's outside the MCU in such a weird way.
Exactly. Because it's so long before the MCU. It came out like 5 years before the MCU started, so.
Yeah.
But
Four.
but yeah, I mean, going back to the actual movie we're talking about, being Venom 2.
Oh.
Yeah. But I just really hope this is at least a fun movie.
I think
more
it
than
will
anything.
be. It'll
Yeah.
be fun for me at least, based off of the trailer. So I hope
I'm
it's fun for
I'm
everyone else
optimistic
too.
at least.
Because
I'm
being
optimistic.
being a Power Rangers guy, I've pretty
Yep.
much, this is all I watch is cheesy stuff like this. So I love this kind of stuff. So Venom making eggs and waffles and threatening to eat the gas station clerk. I mean, that's hilarious to me.
He
So,
threatens to eat everybody.
Yeah.
So
I did because I don't know a lot about Venom, but I did love that Tom Hardy had to say out loud no. Like in their relationship,
right.
it's not Tom Hardy thinking things; it's him actually speaking. That's
saying
hilarious.
things out loud. Yeah.
Yeah, you see that a lot in the first movie. They're kind of back and forth, and it starts off as like he's kind of fighting Venom, but then they kind of become friends. The best way to say, I don't know how else to say that, but they become friends at the end, I guess.
Co-workers.
So they become colleagues at the end.
It's a pun intended symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, there we go.
I see what you did there.
Okay.
I see what you did there.
But
no, very much so.
So I think that's our big Venom stuff. Is the trailer I think looked better than we expected. Is I think the takeaway on that.
Yeah, I think so.
I was impressed.
And then we got some more MCU based news, including Shang-Chi has a theatrical window outside of Disney Plus. I think that's the first one that's gotten announced, right?
Yeah, officially.
Yeah, so that's the first MCU, but it's Shang-Chi and the upcoming Free Guy movie with Ryan Reynolds, which I'm also really excited for.
I want to see
that
that
one looks like a lot of fun, yeah.
They got announced to have a 45-day theatrical window before Shang-Chi goes on to Disney Plus. We're kind of assuming it's going to then not be premiere or premium access just because that seems weird, but we're not 100% sure on that.
It better not be premiere access, sorry.
Yeah,
after 45 days.
Yes, sorry. Keep going.
But the 45-day theatrical window, part of why it's so interesting is the usual one, pre-everything, was 90. So it was 3 months. And this is half of that. So it's like month and a half-ish. So it's definitely shorter. I'm curious if this is only because they're just trying to get the theaters back like open and get people there while still being mindful of the fact that there are people who, even if you like with the vaccine and stuff, I'm not super confident that we're going to get to the herd immunity thing, but that's a whole other story. So I am glad that they're being mindful of the fact there are still people who will need to see it at home for safety reasons. But there's also a question, is this 45-day window more of what they're going to be looking at long term? Because that'd be kind of surprising.
Yeah, I think this is going to happen for Shang-Chi regardless, but I think the real like indicator of what's going to happen is once Eternals comes out. I mean, especially at least on the Marvel front, because there's still plenty of movies that are going to come out between Shang-Chi and Eternals. So that's a 2-month difference. But I think that'll be a real indicator once we kind of have a sense of what's going to happen for Eternals. I think we'll be able to really judge on that.
Do they 45 or 90?
What I'm really interested in is what they're going to do with Spider-Man. Because obviously that's a completely different thing. So I'm wondering to see how long Spider-Man will keep its theatrical exclusivity.
It's also December at that point. So I think we're kind of hoping that at that point we're pretty well past like the point of
Yeah,
You would
and
think.
I think too, like hopefully, I mean, Spider-Man is easily, I think, the biggest movie that's going to come out this year, not just for Marvel. I think just for anybody. So I
Yeah.
think that's going to be like the real, you know, bang moment for theaters to come back into play. I mean, if we can get things good by December, I think that is a real shot at being a huge one.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'm gonna see Black Widow in theaters.
Me
I've
too.
got the
Me too.
I've got 2 vaccinations. I'm past the window of when it's like in there.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see in theaters because it feels like it needs to be.
Oh yeah.
But I also do appreciate that it's going to be on Disney Plus for people that can't go
Yeah.
to theaters. But
Mhm.
I'm excited just to see more of the stuff like in theaters, not just for the visual of an actual movie theater, but the sound quality of a
The
movie
experience.
theater. Yes, 100%. So,
Yeah. No, that's going to be great.
I'm excited that it has a theatrical window. I think that's a really good sign because I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous that theaters were gonna get kind of like start to go away.
They still
Yeah.
might. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't count
I'm
them back in
praying
yet.
not.
But
Because, like, at least, I don't know about for you guys, going to the movies is, like, one of my favorite things to do, like, just going out and doing stuff.
I did it a lot more after I got the AMC A-list stubs thing because I had Movie Pass and then that obviously died. So I got the
Yeah.
AMC A-list stubs thing. And
It was a great idea, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not something they could have long term.
Right.
And I mean, the thing I love out of Movie Pass is it got the A-list stubs to happen. So, thank you for that, Movie Pass. But then I started going to the movies more, and I remember seeing, I think Endgame in theaters and like Infinity War in theaters. Like you can't have that same experience on your couch.
yeah.
No, God, no. Because they're there with, 100, 200 other people who all love these movies the same way that we do. And it's an experience, especially on the Marvel front. It's an experience seeing a movie like that in theaters.
People are cheering every time like a different character comes on. You have like at the end, everyone going crazy with the credits for Endgame when it was like autographs and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I remember seeing I think my favorite theater experience was seeing The Force Awakens in theaters because that was a movie that people had been waiting since 2005 to see.
Right.
And including me because around 2005, that's whenever my dad started showing me Star Wars.
Bryce was 6.
No, I was 4. I was getting ready to turn 5.
I was giving you a hard time, and you're younger.
So, wow, it backfired.
I was born in 2000.
So hard.
I was born in 2000, so I was 4, getting ready to turn 5 because I was born in November.
Jeez.
So,
wow.
But so that's around the same time I started getting into Star Wars. So I had been waiting for that long too, and just to finally see the only good sequel movie in the theaters. I mean, you can't take that away from me. I mean, that was amazing.
There's 2 moments before we move on that I remember really vividly, like seeing with Marvel movies in theaters. The first time Spider-Man came on in the MCU, but no, not even the first time he came on, when Queens popped up on the screen during Civil War, because like Spider-Man 1, the Tobey Maguire one, was one of the first movies I ever remember seeing in theaters, and seeing him in the MCU was just beyond perfect. And then the end of Infinity War, right after this Thanos smiled at the end of Infinity War, and everyone was like, "What the?"
Yeah,
that
was one of my most traumatic experiences in the theater.
I was so mad. I was like, "You ended on the climax, and I gotta wait a year? Are you kidding me?"
I remember somebody yelled, "No way!" when that happened. Everybody
that was probably you were hearing me. You were hearing my cries in Illinois.
From 2,000 miles away.
Like, you knew it was coming, but you were also like, oh, really? Come on.
Yeah. Exactly. No, Marvel got us with that.
Like, I was so distraught. Like in Endgame, I cried. But in Infinity War, I was so distraught that my brain couldn't even handle the emotion. I couldn't cry. Yeah, I was probably more angry than yeah.
But no, theaters are going to be amazing again.
Yeah,
I 100% agree. And then segueing into the MCU Disney Plus stuff that is exclusively Disney Plus stuff. We have a new poster for Loki that actually had a little bit of a unexpected reveal, right, Richard?
Yeah, this is I mean, I would say it's a weird one, but it's Loki. The whole thing is going to be weird. So
Weird one. That's
yeah,
the show. That's
exactly.
Loki.
A
Loki.
weird one.
Hashtag it's a weird one.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, so the weird thing about this poster is a new poster for Loki. It's got Tom Hiddleston and everything, but there's a little tiny Easter egg.
You're
on
telling
the
me the Loki poster has Tom Hiddleston? That's
Tom Hiddleston twice.
I can't believe that. That doesn't make any sense.
So
you have a problem, you know that. But regardless, so the thing we didn't expect on this poster was there's a little cartoon clock. I think it's in one of the corners. And
it's like bottom left middle.
Yeah, bottom left. It's a little orange clock. And this is actually a legit character from Marvel Comics. It's called Miss Minutes. And she is the animated mascot for the Time Variance Authority, the TVA.
Which is amazing that they have an animated mascot.
That's great. And I mean, it's like this old-timey cartoon character design. Like, think like Mickey and Minnie Mouse, all old Disney stuff like that. And it's basically the mascot for the TVA. And I mean, just the fact that they're going into this kind of detail for the Phase 4 shows, especially Loki, is just so cool to me. And it just gets me that much more excited for Loki.
It looks like in the picture for one of them, not the picture on the poster, but one of the pictures of her, I'm assuming from like back in the day, she's saying, "Woo, doggy."
Wow. That's got it from the 50s or 60s or something.
So we're going back to the WandaVision throwback style.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's really great. I love that.
I'm really curious, like, what that means. Are we going to see her as a character? Is she going to be some kind of, like something?
Could it be another certain character in disguise?
Same with Cisco. I'm going to sock you in the Adam's apple.
Through the computer. I want to see it.
Yep.
Super chat if you want to see Richard punch Bryce through the computer.
Yeah, if you super chat, Richard will drive to Wisconsin to slap me on camera.
No. It'll be the Family Guy moment with Stewie and Will Ferrell. He drives all the way to Will Ferrell's house after seeing Bewitched and punches him in the face. That's not funny.
That's amazing.
But no, I mean, this show is. I don't even know what to say about this show, but I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome for sure. I mean, it's definitely going to go back to the what the F am I watching sort of WandaVision style, and I loved that with WandaVision. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of getting back in that with Loki. And we're gonna get more than one season of Loki. We already know this. So I think that's something just to look forward to as well. Like this isn't just gonna be a one-off. We're gonna be getting a lot of this.
And one other thing I was thinking before you go, Caitlin, is that I think there was another little shot of Miss Minutes on one of the TV screens in one of the trailers. I think she was kind of like moving around on it. It's a really short shot, but that does make me curious to see if it's like actually going to play a legit part in the show, or if it's just going to be propaganda material.
Yeah, because I was wondering if she could almost be an indicator that the TVA has messed with something. You know, like she is like
that could mean something.
Like a subliminal message during a commercial or something. Like on the TV in that world, not like WandaVision style commercials.
Yeah, for sure. Like something in the TVA.
Yeah, like that could be interesting. Or if she's, like you said, uses propaganda material. So I think there's a lot of options. And I mean, the poster looks cool because you got Loki in the Asgardian throne. You've got him in like, it looks like a trench coat.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's one of the things I'm really excited about for the show is all the Loki costumes and seeing how they play into it. Because we seen him in his first Avengers outfit. We saw him in the TVA stuff, obviously. The President Loki outfit's in there with the horns and everything. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get some good costuming on the Loki front.
Yeah, and I mean, we're interested because of the fact that it's Loki from Avengers. So, like that alone is interesting because it erases all of the
character development
we've seen. Yeah. So, yeah, Loki should be interesting, and I really want to know what to do with Miss Minute, because what the F?
Marvel can seriously, like I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, Marvel's at the point now where they can do whatever the hell they want, and we're going to be excited for it.
I also hope that they put it on the poster. Like, you know that has to mean something, because it's so weird.
Everything with Marvel means something.
Yep.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to it. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
it looks like our assumption about when What If will drop looks like it's right, because it looks like What If will be dropping in August. The main question now is when in August? Because Bad Batch is going to be going, it looks like, until August 13th, since it's 16 episodes. So is this dropping after that, or is it going to be like the first week of August on Wednesday? We don't know.
For sure, yeah, because it's basically been confirmed that What If is going to have 10 episodes, which means it's going to run for 2.5 months, not assuming that there's going to be double episodes or anything. So that, thinking about that actually doesn't leave a ton of time for Miss Marvel and Hawkeye after that.
Well, you're assuming that whatever one premieres last will finish in 2021. I wouldn't be shocked if it rolled over into 2022.
That's a good point. It could be in the last couple weeks of December with Hawkeye.
Mando did that, I believe. Mando season 2 did that, right? So
yeah, it was 2021 into 2022, or 2020 into 2021, or whatever it was.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
December to January.
I was following you. I didn't even realize you had said 2022.
I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah,
right.
I didn't even notice. So, but yeah,
and I mean, we're assuming that Boba Fett is coming out in December, and again, I wouldn't be shocked if
I'm pretty sure that's confirmed.
Okay, so I wouldn't be shocked if that was 21 into 22. So I wouldn't it wouldn't be surprising to me necessarily if Hawkeye and Boba Fett were both rolled over into the next year.
Actually, Mando didn't go into 2021. It ended December 18th, 2020. So I guess I was wrong on that. So never mind. But it still could happen.
Yeah. Well, I think season 1 might. Did season one do that? Because it was one of the first.
Of them, right?
It was one of the first shows to come out when Disney Plus premiered. I think that was November 12th.
Season 1 ended on December 27th. So I don't know what the heck I'm thinking of.
Wow. Okay.
So never mind.
It'll be a wait and see game for when these come out.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing in the world for something to roll out of December into January.
Not for sure.
Like, even if they haven't necessarily done it yet, I mean, Mandalorian feels like not the greatest thing to go off of, because that was going when it was literally the only show.
Yeah, it was like
well, you're forgetting about High School Musical, the musical, the series. So
that's a pretty big omission about that.
Because
did that get dropped in December as well?
It was a launch title, yeah.
But did it come out at the same time as Mandalorian, or was it a different?
It's season 1, yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, whoops.
Whoops.
Sorry.
And The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
That I would feel bad about forgetting, but I am including nonfiction shows in my.
That's such a great show, by the way. Anyway.
But I think so the question with What If is, will it be pulling double time with Bad Batch? They're both animated, which could be interesting. Also, damn, Bad Batch, you're going through 2 Marvel shows. Well done.
Seriously, that's impressive.
Yeah. So, no, I'm excited for What If. I think What If's going to be crazy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement. I mean, What If? I mean, if we thought WandaVision and Loki are going to be crazy, I think What If might even make it even crazier.
The fact that Miss Marvel might be one of the more normal shows of the year. Normal.
Hawkeye is going to be the one where everyone's like, oh, okay. You're shooting arrows. Cool.
Exactly.
He can't get away from that.
He really can't. And that sucks, because he's a cool hero, but he shoots a bow and arrow.
To me, I'm going to go a tiny bit into a tangent. It's the same as in the CW Arrowverse, big giant crossover Crisis on Infinite Earths, where the Monitor's big plan was, we'll throw Robin Hood at the multiverse destroying threat. It'll work out. And it doesn't, immediately doesn't. And then he's like, I don't have a plan B, better figure one out. I'm like, your entire plan was throw the guy with a bow and arrow at this dude instead of Superman, Supergirl, the Flash.
That guy with the bow and arrow saved the entire multiverse, okay?
After he wasn't the guy with the bow and arrow anymore, he had magic powers.
Yeah. He died, came back, and died again to save everyone. So you're welcome.
Good Lord.
He is a true hero.
Just watch.
He had to get magic powers first. It totally connects my point. So
just watch. They're gonna do something like that with Hawkeye, and we're gonna be all shocked.
Like Hawkeye, it's the same thing. It's like he even says it. Like I think in the first Avengers movie, he's like, "I got a bow and arrow." Or in Ultron,
Ultron,
like, I got
Ultron.
a bow and arrow, guys.
The city's flying. We're fighting an army of robots, and I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
Like I can't wait for him to be training Kate Bishop, and she's like, "So what happens when we like are fighting against XYZ, like the big three or whatever?" And he's like, "You shoot and hope for the best, kid. What do you expect?"
I love
Shoot
how
the damn thing.
I love how it is just the big three now. Like Sam
Oh yeah,
Wilson,
that has to come back.
It's a new term now. Like it's just the big three, and you know exactly what you're
that
talking about.
That has to come back in one of these series.
Yes, 100%.
Oh man,
But
that's
yeah,
great.
it's so funny because you have Hawkeye up against like the only one that it makes sense against is Falcon and Winter Soldier, and they're so far apart.
Right. Oh
even,
man.
Even new Captain America got so like Wakanda gear, so you're like, Hawkeye, what do you got? Ping.
Oh man.
And
Richard, the name for your Hawkeye recap show needs to just be "I've got a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense."
That'll be the tagline.
Recap show. Recap.
It was just, "Oh, Hawkeye."
Wow. Oh my God.
Like, what do you got? I got
bow and arrow guy.
I got a bow and arrow and a purple coat. I'm good to go.
Yep. Yeah. No.
I think that's our big Marvel news.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I just can't wait for these shows to start coming back. We're gonna have Marvel is going to dominate this show from June to December,
especially
easily.
with Venom. Let There Be Carnage.
Yep,
Yeah.
that'll be the highlight above.
When does that come
Spider-Man
out?
No Way
I don't
Home.
think we said that. Let me
September.
look that up real quick before
September
we move on.
24th.
Okay, never mind. Richard's got it. So, but that's pretty
Yeah.
close to Shang-Chi, right?
Like 2-3 weeks later, yeah.
Yikers. Okay, well, sorry, Venom.
I mean, I will say it's after, so that's probably a little helpful.
Yeah, no, that does help. Yeah. And it's a good 3 weeks, so that should help a little bit.
We'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, so no, Marvel is going full weird with their Disney Plus stuff.
Yes, they are.
I
love
it.
it though. I love it.
Me too. Bring it.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, so I think we're gonna move into DC, and as I said,
The James Gunn block. Sorry.
Yep.
The
we got a lot
James
of
Gunn block.
A lot of James Gunn.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so our biggest thing to start off with, I mean, I guess James Gunn teasing Peacemaker season 2.
And I don't know that he was necessarily teasing that it's going to happen so much as he has ideas for it.
Exactly, yeah. So people were asking him on Twitter, like, was there anything you didn't get to use for Peacemaker? And he basically just says there's a whole list of things that I'd love to include for future stuff. So he said that, and then he also said he'd love to work with HBO Max again, just because he's had a great time with everybody, involved and everything. So
yeah, and they're filming still, right? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see more James Gunn with HBO Max.
It feels like James Gunn is kind of bowing out of Marvel and heading over to DC.
He very well could.
I'd be okay with that because he's kind of, I think by Guardians 3, he will have told the story he wanted to tell. And I think he's got a lot more stories he wants to tell on the DC side of things. And DC kind of needs him.
Yeah.
I know he was interested in Thunderbolts at one point, and when he was asked about it, he said that the Suicide Squad kind of
satisfied that need.
Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily want someone to do like Thunderbolts that wasn't super into it.
Yeah, for sure. And here's the thing. We still got 2 Guardians projects to do. He's got the holiday special and Guardians 3. He said he wouldn't be totally against doing Guardians 4 should it happen, but it does feel like he's closer to the end with Marvel than the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, my only complaint about Guardians 3 is, and again, we don't know stuff about it yet, but it just feels like they set up a whole new chapter of Gamora's story, and I don't know how we get into it in Guardians 3.
Right, that's a good point.
Like, that's literally my only complaint about that, is I'm like, okay, this is a new Gamora. I want to see how that plays out, and you have a lot of other characters to deal with that are more established at this point, so what does that mean?
That's going to be a huge movie.
We know it's probably going to be Drax's last movie, so...
Yeah.
With the way Dave Bautista's been talking. I mean, nothing bad, but he just seems like he's, really done.
I'm so confused about what he says sometimes.
Yeah.
So he's like,
Me too.
talking about how he thinks Marvel dropped the ball, and I'm like, but
Yeah.
Marvel didn't do it. James Gunn did it.
Right. Yeah. Because they basically kind of given James Gunn the freedom to, make the movie how he wants to make it for the most part, it seems like.
And if he wants them to explore the Drax the Destroyer stuff, you can't then also say, I'm not going to do a Disney Plus show, because that's where you would do it.
Yeah.
Like, they're not, like, Guardians is an ensemble cast, and Drax is not the lead.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what he was expecting.
Like, I love Dave Bautista's Drax. He's done an incredible job.
Yeah.
He's been great. But yeah, I mean, I just hope they do a good story for him in number 3. That's all I'm hoping for.
It just doesn't seem like he's going to, it felt like his big focus was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Because it feels like they're going to be doing more rocket
Guardians
stuff.
2, and then Guardians 2 was Peter Quill. So
yeah,
I mean,
Right, for sure.
And Gamora and Nebula a little bit too.
Yeah, mostly Peter with a little bit of Gamora and Nebula.
Yeah, so it feels like 3 we're going to get more rocket stuff.
Yeah, maybe a little more Groot.
Yeah, so Drax would be cool to have in there, but it's weird. Like, I want to explore these characters more in like less of an ensemble area. Like, I want to see more stuff with Mantis because she's a really interesting character.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'd love to see more Drax. Like, maybe it's not Dave Bautista, because that would sort of make sense if it was a prequel anyways.
Yeah.
I would have really
room to play.
wanted to see a Mantis and Drax Disney Plus show. I even wrote an article about it. That definitely doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, it's a damn shame because it would have been a great show. So
yeah, and
Definitely.
I want to see more of Nebula in this version of Gamora, because like this version of Nebula has really reconciled her past with Gamora, and we saw Gamora do the one thing that Nebula always wanted in Infinity War, where she saved her from getting tortured.
Yeah.
So I want to see this version of Nebula being more of the one teaching Gamora at this point. Again, I don't know how we get into that in a 2-hour movie where we have like 10 characters minimum.
The little tease that they had in Endgame of present day Nebula and past Gamora was really, really cool. Like just that one moment before they jumped into the battle together.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, there's a lot of areas to explore with these characters. I just think it's in like solo duo shows or movies or something. And I also feel like James Gunn, don't get me wrong, Guardians is amazing and James Gunn has killed it with that. I also wouldn't be super upset if we saw these characters explored with other creators when it was like going off into different like groups, because I feel like you could play with different genres in a way that we don't really get to do in Guardians.
For sure. And then, I know we've gotten off track a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
in other DC news.
Yeah, right. We always, at this point, we always.
Well,
do that,
it's still James Gunn. I mean,
no,
it is. It is.
Yeah,
doing other HBO Max shows, I will say, does that mean DC specifically, or is it anything? Because
that's a good question. Yeah,
we're gonna get a Guardians of the Galaxy HBO Max show, I think.
See rights issues.
They'll just call it Protectors of the Universe.
The Universe.
Yeah. No, that's actually called He-Man, I think.
God.
Or no,
Damn
Voltron. What is it? Is it Voltron or He-Man that was the Protectors of the Universe tagline?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those two. But
no, Voltron Defenders of the Universe. So
yes,
we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
And that I remember from Deadpool.
Yeah.
Voltron Defender of the Universe ring. Por favor.
Amazing. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what James Gunn wants to do with HBO Max, because he is really known for this kind of action-based comedic stuff. Is he interested in getting into more drama-based stuff? Because HBO Max is definitely somewhere that would be wanting that.
For sure. And he's got, a solid resume in the comic book movie universe and out of it. So it seems like he's got some options if he wants to keep going with HBO Max.
HBO Max is definitely the place that needs content. I mean, on the DC
needs
side,
good directors like him.
On the DC side alone, they've said they're doing like just so many projects that we're all like
million.
Yeah.
So
we're all like, okay, what are they? Show us details.
And which ones
like,
are actually going to get
Green
made?
Lantern.
And which ones are actually going to get made?
Titans.
Yeah.
Oh, yay, Titans. More Titans.
Yay.
But yeah, so no, James Gunn definitely is I'm curious what he's going to be doing in the future with HBO Max and DC. Because I mean, and like getting a little bit into our next topic with him, like Suicide Squad, I'm expecting to be kind of the HBO Max movie that everyone goes, oh, this is what I've been waiting for. Because so far they've been a little like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially on the DC front, like Wonder Woman 1984 and the Snyder Cut and everything.
Yeah, like I liked 1984, don't get me wrong, but I also was not like, I have to go see this in theaters right now. Like, you know, like, so, and I know looking at people's reactions, they felt that way about Mortal Kombat, where it was either they liked it or didn't like it, but either way, they weren't necessarily like, I have to go see this in theaters. Same with like Kong versus
I will
Godzilla.
say this with the Snyder Cut, and this is coming from a Snyder fan. I thought everybody was going to absolutely hate that movie, and it turned out reception was generally favorable, especially compared to the original cut. So I would still call that one a pretty success. Like, you know,
I mean, it definitely came as a success.
But at least compared to some of the others that they've done. I don't know about viewing numbers. I would say probably 84 Mortal Kombat, Godzilla vs. Kong still top it viewing wise. I don't know that for sure, but I still say critically, I would still consider that one a success.
I think the viewing numbers with Justice League, what would not surprise me is if people didn't get through it all the way because it was 4 hours.
Well, yeah, exactly. That wouldn't shock me.
But yeah, like I think Suicide Squad is going to be the one where people are like, okay, I gotta see this in theaters.
This is, for me personally, not being as big of a DC fan, this is the most excited I've been about a DC movie in a while. So
it's a straight up 80s action movie with like comic book characters.
With a giant starfish as the villain. I mean,
yeah, and
kind of bring it.
And I will say, James Gunn did come out and legitimately say, no, most of the Suicide Squad characters are going to die. And we had already said we assumed that was going to happen, so that's not a shock.
There's 24 people in this cast, so.
But I also just love that because it's sort of hilarious. Like, I think we can all agree we're like 70 to 75% sure that Margot Robbie is safe.
I was going to say about 90 to 95 because she's kind of the DCEU's biggest star at this point.
Yeah.
So I'd say she's safe, but I don't know who else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning towards Viola Davis only because if they're going to do other Suicide Squad stuff, she's kind of the one there running it. And then also, it doesn't seem like she's actually going to be on the ground fighting.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Like, that'd be the only reason. But at the same time, in one of the trailers, we saw, like, the Suicide Squad, it seems to kind of go against her. So who knows? I'm hoping Idris Elba is safe just because he looks freaking hilarious.
I think he definitely needs to be another one that gets his own series, spin-off movie, whatever. So
I'd assume John Cena because the Peacemaker, but
I don't. That's a prequel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point.
I think he's gonna die. I think Toilet Bowl Head is gonna die.
I think he's gonna die. I think the fact that Peacemaker is a prequel, I think almost guarantees that he dies for me. Because it's
got a Black Widow situation.
He's the one he's the one that you wouldn't expect because he's got a TV show coming out.
Yeah.
So,
right, exactly. That could really set things up for him to die.
I feel like the other one I kind of hope is safe is the one that's the agent from the first one. The name is escaping me. Yeah.
Rick Flag, Colonel.
Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he died, but I almost hope he lives just because if it's like essentially him and Margot Robbie with new characters every movie, that would kind of be hilarious.
That would be pretty funny, actually.
Boomerang, Jai Courtney.
He's so gonna die.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't be so shocked if he died like within the first 10 minutes or something.
I honestly think it's gonna be that first team, which includes him, dies within the first like 15 minutes, and then the rest of the movie is the second team.
You know who I'm also gonna think is guaranteed safe? Weasel. Just because it's freaking Weasel.
Weasel's gonna die instantly. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know. It's Sean Gunn, so it's not like James Gunn's gonna be worried about killing his brother.
Like, it'll be brutal for him.
The only way Weasel lives, and if he straight up runs away. Like that at post-credit scene is him just like in the sewers. Like,
oh
that's
my
the only
god,
way.
That would be hilarious.
But no, like I loved in the trailer when they went to like rescue Harley, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And Rick Flag is like, "We came to rescue you." You came to rescue me? I can go back. Like, I would love that dynamic with new characters every single movie. That would be hilarious, especially if all the new characters are always like, "Why does she like her?"
No, I'm really excited for Suicide Squad on
It's gonna
the
be awesome.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be great. But yeah, no, James Gunn is like, it really feels like he's hopping ship over to DC, which I mean, DC needs it. First
Oh,
off,
yeah.
like,
DC needs somebody as good as him.
I think they've been doing great so far. Keep it up, guys.
DC's
Okay.
killing it. DC's
Okay.
killing it. DC
All
is
right.
on Marvel Star Wars level for sure.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it. That's what we're going with.
But like
I love Titans.
I can tell you talk about it
Yes,
so much, and
you
it's
do.
always positive.
I hate Titans because I love Titans.
You
It's a
hate
Titans.
Titans.
literal love-hate relationship.
You
Yeah.
hate Titans because you love what it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you love what Titans could be.
And I'm
Trust
going to
me,
keep
I
watching
get that.
Titans until it ends, because
Yeah,
because I love those characters so much, and I'm rooting for them. I want Titans to be good, but
I
it
feel
just
like
really sucks is the problem. And
I feel like that's why
so
the Star Wars sequel trilogy gets me mad, because I'm like, this could have been
we
awesome.
can't get into that, please.
No, I'm just saying. For me,
We need
this
to do-
could have been
it's the
great.
same feeling.
Yeah.
What we need to do is we need to do a like just this is the stream. The three of us or whoever wants to sit down and we just vent
Have
about
it
the
out.
sequels
Just
and
have
then
it.
and then cut it off.
I would legit be down for that. Just have it out with the sequel trilogy and then be done with it.
And
But
then
no,
never
my only-
mention it again.
The only thing I was saying is I feel the same feeling of this could have been great. You just blew it.
For
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, like you guys said, it feels like after Guardians 3, he kind of has told the story he wants to told. Personally, I think there's a lot more stuff to go into because there's a lot of characters, and we focused on Peter Quill a lot, understandably,
yeah.
because he's the main character. But
There's a lot of stories that we can tell with them.
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. I just hope they go into it eventually. I mean, with
I'm
James
sure
Gunn
they
or without
will.
him.
With or without, they're going to keep those characters around. So
Yeah.
so we'll
For sure.
get into that, just probably not with James Gunn.
yeah, and I
Right.
mean the concept art in that poster that got leaked about What If, like Gamora's in it.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
and James Gunn has since said that he is not fully opposed to doing a Guardians 4. It just won't be a continuation of the story that's been taking place through Guardians 1 through 3.
Yeah.
So it'll just kind of be
I
a new
but-
start or something.
But it's
so.
still 2 years until this movie comes out, so
Yeah.
it's going to be a while until we have
Yep.
anything more to say in it.
But like the fact that we know Gamora is going to be in What If, that to me is like, okay, cool. So they're definitely going to use these characters in other ways.
For sure, yeah. But I think that's all of our Suicide
That's our
Squad
big
talk,
James.
right?
That's our big James Gunn news.
I
We
was
have a
saying
little
Suicide
bit.
Squad, not James Gunn.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
our big James Gunn news. We have a little bit of Zack Snyder stuff that Bryce
What?
is going to talk about.
Zach, he's back? Just
To be
week 2?
fair, he's back every single week saying something.
He's back?
About what could have been.
Yeah. Wait, what? It's
But
just
this
it's just a
this is
Superman
not
thing?
about Justice League stuff. This is Superman specifically.
Oh,
Mhm.
shucks. Oh, man. Some news about something we'll never see. Okay.
Shocker.
It's still interesting.
To be clear, I joke about that. I love Zack Snyder. I want to see his stuff, but we never will. Anyway, so
Unless you watch Army of the Dead.
that's true. I am actually looking forward to that. Anyway,
With Dave Bautista.
so oh man, but so he talked about a Superman sequel that he had an idea for, and it would have included Brainiac. That's the story. Anyway, guys, that wraps up today's episode. No.
It doesn't, but okay.
But
No, it doesn't.
Just kidding. But yeah, I think that would have been really cool. Obviously, Brainiac is a pretty major Superman villain.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him in live action, right? So
Not that I can think
this
of.
would have been the first time that we'd seen it. Well, besides weird Supergirl TV show stuff, but
Even that's not Brainiac. It's
yeah.
characters from the world of Brainiac. Like we
Yeah.
have
Okay.
Brainiac that's the hero
Brainiac-ish.
version. Well, we
Yeah.
have the Brainiac version that's from the future, like League of Heroes or whatever. It's not the name. But it's the one where he's a hero based one, and we had in season 1 some chick version like Brainiac something. So we haven't seen the actual Brainiac, like main Brainiac that everyone knows.
Right.
Yeah. And so that would have been interesting to see. Another interesting thing is in some storylines, like Injustice, I doubt they would have gone this route, but Brainiac is fairly responsible to the destruction of the destruction of Krypton. So that could have maybe been an interesting thing to
Yeah.
explore. I don't think that they were going to go that route. Because we kind of saw what happened with Krypton in Man of Steel, so I don't think they would have done that per se.
Well, in the Superman animated, and I think either Justice League or Justice League Unlimited animated, Brainiac and Lex Luthor merge
into one being.
That would be hilarious. Just see Eisenberg and Brainiac combine.
Well, Jesse Eisenberg is weird as shit in the first Superman. So
I
like it
because he's controlled by Brainiac, that could be really interesting.
Yeah,
right.
Be fun. Donnie
that would be a
Pearson
weird one.
Is in the chat. He says, speaking of Superman, 2 more days until the mid-season premiere of Superman and Lois on the CW. Yeah, they're coming back. So they finally caught up with their filming. I think it was COVID-related issues that kind of delayed filming a little bit. But they're finally back, so that's going to be awesome.
And I will say on the Supergirl front, because the mid-season finale happened last week, she's finally with her main cast again. So the final season won't be her alone.
That is insane.
Nice.
Who would have thought?
First half of the season, she is nowhere near the rest of the cast, and you're like,
wow.
This is the last season, right?
Right.
She wasn't even in 2 of the episodes, I don't think.
Oh my God.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they time traveled to the younger version of her.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. So Melissa Benoist was still in the episode. Okay.
No, Melissa Benoist wasn't.
Oh.
I think it's because she just had a baby.
Oh, okay.
That would make sense.
Okay, I was about to say, did they really just have Melissa Benoist be absent for episodes in her final season? But okay, that would make sense if that is the case.
Yeah.
So
right.
But
so the mid-season finale of Supergirl was last week, and then this week it's the mid-season premiere of Superman and Lois. Also, for all of you Arrowverse fans, if you have ever wanted to know the origin story of the Big Belly Burger chain, it's in last week's Legends of Tomorrow episode, and it's connected to aliens.
I've got free time. I'm gonna start watching Legends of Tomorrow tonight. I need to catch up on that show. That show, that sounds like it would be my favorite show ever made. I've got to watch that show. I
did have to say the origin of Big Belly Burger was in the episode.
Wow.
It's ridiculous in every capacity.
I need to watch that show.
But no, I think Brainiac could have been a really cool villain for Superman to have to deal with, because I'm not a huge Man of Steel fan. But I think that seeing him, because he felt like Superman to me really at the end of Batman v Superman when he grabbed the spear. So I would love to see that version of Superman having to deal with an alien threat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
here's the thing.
Will not.
I enjoy Man of Steel enough. I mean, it's not a great movie, but I think it's, enjoyable and it's a decent story. I actually really do like Henry Cavill's Superman. I just wish we could have seen more with him.
This may sound crazy, but I grew up with Superman Returns, so that's my Superman movie. But Man of Steel, yes.
Brandon Routh does decent.
Yeah, so, but I mean, I still am a fan of Man of Steel. It's definitely not the best in the world. I think a lot of people say that. I mean, if it is to you, great. But for me, my Superman is Superman Returns, which I know sounds weird, but that's just what I grew up with.
No, Brandon Routh did a pretty decent job. There's a reason they had him be Superman in Crisis.
Yeah.
Right, for sure.
And that honestly should have been an HBO Max show. It's that.
Oh my gosh, they still can do it. They need to do it.
Yeah. But no, I think my biggest problem with Man of Steel is it doesn't feel like a Superman movie. It feels like a Kal-El movie. He's too alien.
Sure.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
But no, I think it would have been really interesting to see Brainiac come into the picture, because you have the question of, has he been kind of under the surface all along, or is he new? There's a lot of ways to go with that. So,
could have been cool.
Yeah, like I said, Zack Snyder's not my favorite, but I definitely think that's an interesting tidbit that he shared, because I know a lot of people wanted a Man of Steel 2, so the fact that he did actually have some notion of what was going to go on with it and how disconnected it feels from the Justice League stuff is interesting.
Yeah. People still want a Man of Steel 2.
Yeah.
I mean, we already got another Superman, so I'm curious to see what we do with that. I'm hoping we'll get more of a Brainiac thing with that than Zod. I'm sort of over Zod.
I hope so.
They've done Zod enough.
Yeah.
And then we got a little bit of Margot Robbie updates. Nothing really
nothing crazy.
Yeah. But I think Bryce wanted to get into the first one a little bit.
Yeah, so Margot Robbie dropped an entire bombshell on the entire DC fandom. Really crazy stuff. She said that Birds of Prey 2 is not currently in development. And so yeah, surprise. But yeah, I'm not well, okay. I'm not surprised. This was pretty clear that this was a thing. Would I like to see a Birds of Prey 2? It depends. If it was an actual Birds of Prey movie this time, then yes. If they were just going to do another Harley Quinn movie, I would like to see another Harley Quinn movie, but make it a Harley Quinn movie, And that was kind of my big problem with Birds of Prey is that I love Margot Robbie. It was a great Harley Quinn movie, but it was a terrible Birds of Prey movie, in my opinion. I don't think they did a good enough job setting up those characters and making that team a cohesive group.
It was a Harley Quinn movie with the origin story of how the Birds of Prey came together.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, it really was just was Harley Quinn the movie featuring the Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
And so I would like to see an actual Birds of Prey movie. It doesn't look like as of right now that's something that's in the works. But I mean, I'm sure we're getting plenty of more Harley Quinn. She's gonna be in the Suicide Squad. It's about time for Gotham City Sirens, I think. I wanted that actually more than Birds of Prey.
I am hoping Birds of Prey didn't kill that.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I know there've been fan campaigns. I know there've been
I need to see that movie. That would be awesome.
I actually think Birds of Prey set up like essentially 3 different options movie-wise. It sets up another Birds of Prey that's only Birds of Prey. It sets up Harley Quinn doing her own stuff. It also sets up Gotham City Sirens because she started to establish herself in Gotham without Joker. So I think it does have like those possibilities to set up. I am not surprised, but definitely disappointed that they don't look like they have Birds of Prey 2 in development. I honestly think that there's been fan campaigns for a Black Canary series. I think that would be cool.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I want to see these characters, but I want to see them actually fleshed out and not just shoved into a Harley Quinn movie.
Done right.
Oh my god, I want Birds of Prey Huntress so bad.
Yeah.
She is the most hilarious assassin because she has like the most socially awkward person ever. We see her practice because Richard, I don't think you've seen it yet, but we see her practicing saying her name in the mirror. She's like, "I'm Huntress." Like, it's ridiculous.
Does she pull some John Walker stuff?
No, it's more of like she's practicing so that she won't be awkward.
Oh my god.
It's less of her practicing because she's like, I gotta be the best at this, and more of like, I gotta seem like I'm badass. Like,
oh my god. Wow.
It's amazing. So I want more Huntress. I want more Black Canary because the fact that this is a Black Canary that is essentially the second generation Black Canary is super interesting since the first one, her mom got killed while helping the Gotham police. So there's a lot of stuff to explore with the Birds of Prey stuff. Obviously, like, it's Harley Quinn. We gotta get more Harley Quinn. Come on.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff in Birds of Prey. I mean, they set up a lot of stuff that they could follow up on. I hope they do at least some of it. And it's not just a useless, random DC movie. I really hope a lot of the stuff I really hope a lot of the stuff they built up on can get like at least an HBO Max something.
Me too.
Here's hoping.
Birds of Prey it's a fun comic book movie.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
For sure.
And Margot Robbie also said that she's not going to stop bothering DC about making a Harley Quinn Poison Ivy movie. Please don't. I need that.
Yeah. I mean, literally, Margot Robbie is their biggest calling card right now, the DCEU. So
Margot
they're going to want to
Robbie
listen
is literally their Robert Downey Jr. because they threw away their other Robert Downey Jr., which was Henry Cavill. So Margot Robbie is literally the Robert Downey Jr. of the DCEU, and I'm honestly perfectly okay with that. She's absolutely killed it. There's not a single bad scene of her as Harley. So the more Harley, the merrier. So
she's definitely one of the more iconic actor to role matches that we've seen, especially in DC.
Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man.
Yeah. Exactly.
100%. I also just I love the Harley Quinn Poison Ivy stuff. Like the fact that they're doing that in the Harley Quinn animated series is amazing. I can't wait for season 3 because we're gonna get to see them actually together. Right. There was a comic that came out this year that was very, very cool and very sweet about them. So I would love to see it. I'm curious about who would play Poison Ivy. right? So I hope we get that. I think Gotham City Sirens would be the perfect place to do it.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what happens.
Yep,
here's hoping. I think,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Our news with it basically, please.
Please.
Right.
Pretty much.
But I think that is our big DC stuff.
Yeah. Anything else you guys wanted to cover?
I don't think so. I mean, this week
covers it.
didn't have huge stuff. It was not last week with a trailer that dropped 6 pieces of news
Yeah, right.
that I then had to just blow up our entire plan.
Yeah, we literally had to scrap everything.
Don't get me wrong, we love when Marvel does like news drops
Yes,
like
I mean,
that.
please do that more often. But yeah, it makes it rough on us.
But yeah, so no, we will be back here again. I think, and I know we were a little earlier than you guys anticipated. Sorry about that, but I think we'll be back here again Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific again.
Yeah,
yep,
right,
I think
Bryce?
so.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
right after the Retro Sentai wrap up. Yes.
So it's all connected now. Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific.
One other quick thing before we go. In the next couple of days, we're going to have a big Marvel exclusive dropping. So I won't say anything about what it is, but keep your eyes out for the website. I wrote it up last weekend. It's a good one that you're going to want to stay tuned for.
Here is the exclusive. Marvel is ending the MCU tomorrow.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Totally kidding. Completely joking.
I said, yeah, that's not happening.
Here's the exclusive. Marvel is going to absorb DC. They're like, you need supervision.
Oh my God. But no, in all seriousness, keep an eye out for us the next couple of days. It's going to be a good one.
Yep.
Alrighty, yep. So that wraps things up here today. Be sure to follow us on social media. We've got our handles down in the description below. And also be sure to subscribe to the Illuminerdi. We got a show for almost everybody, so definitely be sure to subscribe. Turn on those post notifications to be notified of everything going on here on the channel. Again, thank you all so much for watching. And remember, here at the Illuminerdi, we're always watching. Take care.
See you guys.
Bye.